Anthony Davis injured? Yes, anything is possible in the world of NBA DFS. We're going to do what we always do here in a brand new year. We're going to dig in and look at my projections compared to the Stokastics. We're going to look at the ownership as well. We're going to check out our friends at Unabated and see what the best prop bets are. By the end of this video, you'll know the must plays for the January 2nd NBA slate, one that's changing beneath our feet right as we get into it. But let's go here. Shouts to the chat. Yes, McBride was not good yesterday. I didn't do a video yesterday. I thought I was off. Turned out I ended up having to do the deeper dive stream on Stokastic. That's why there was no splash play yesterday, but there was me on a stream. But yesterday, basically, if you missed it, Miles McBride filling in for Jalen Brunson was the news that came out right as lock happened. So you couldn't even get it in initially. You had to kind of swap some stuff. Then it turned out once the game actually started, McBride hurt himself in warmups, hurt his hamstring, then didn't play despite having 55% chalk. One of the worst DFS slates in a while. So we didn't have a video for that one. I assume that me not doing a video now must mean that that's bad luck because whenever I do the videos, I usually have like a top 150 finisher or so. So didn't cash the 5 lineups in the big tournament I put in yesterday, but we'll survive. We'll get through it, and it starts the man, the thumbnail today. LeBron James, no Anthony Davis for the slate. As a result, LeBron looks fantastic. LeBron on the year, averaging 1.5 fantasy points per minute in court time without AD, actually 1.54, along with 33% usage, 41% assist rate, 16% rebound rate. LeBron, to me, looks like one of the best players overall. Nobody cares, dude. Just you keep chatting. Nobody cares. I don't care. You don't care. Anyway, for this one here, for LeBron in the spot, your chalk play of the day, one of the best plays in the slate, one of the best plays you're going to find no matter what opens up value-wise today. LeBron James at 9,900. I'm having 59.3 fantasy points. Stochastic does have him a little bit lower at 53.6. So basically right now, does DFS start for him? I'm not sure about that. I think he's projected to get mid-20s minutes or so. We'll look at the Lakers a little more specifically when we get there. But basically, and honestly, it's probably going to be Jackson Hayes, who's available now, I believe. At least he's not on the injury report, not getting minutes. Could be Christian Coloco, I guess, would be a faint chance of that. But it's probably, I don't think it's DFS, but he's going to get more minutes no matter what. Giannis at number 2. I'm surprised to see LeBron being projected better than Giannis. That said, LeBron to me, I can't avoid him. Getting 95% of my top 150 lineups have him in a sim. LeBron James, 58%. For Giannis, getting him much less, 9% compared to 15% for the field. Just a play where Giannis, to me, when he's not over 60 fantasy points, when you have Damian Lillard in, price tags are where they are. I'm not getting as much Giannis on slates generally these days, and that's the case again here. I'm at 56.2 fantasy points. Stokastic has him at 56. Really, both plays, though, I mean, both projections not doing a ton for you on a slate. And same thing for them, too. Like, even though I have LeBron higher, you're talking about 2.4 difference in projection between Giannis and LeBron James for Stokastic data. It's really not a lot pushing towards Giannis today. That said, when people are going to pay up for LeBron a little bit more, people are going to be paying up for Embiid a good amount, apparently. Maybe there's some logic in going to a Giannis and SGA at Jason Tatum. All three guys kind of unknown on the slate, but Giannis is the most owned out of that three of him, SGA, and Jason Tatum. SGA, I have at 50.3 fantasy points compared to 51.2 for Stokastic. Jason Tatum, I have that 49.7 compared to 46.8, so I am higher on Tatum than Stokastic is. Neither player coming up a lot, though, when you have LeBron being projected as highly as I have him and as highly as Stokastic has him. When you have Embiid projected decently for Stokastic, you're going to get there more. These guys are sort of, I wouldn't say forgotten men in the slate, but definitely interesting tournament options you can go to here. Somehow the chalk pay-up options were to fail. Your Giannis, your SGA, your Tatum going to look a lot better for it. Besides that here, your pay-up options and nothing else to note. Well, we'll sort by value. You'll see a different look on there. All right. Value. Here we go. All right. So we got D'Angelo Russell. So here's a tough thing to do with D'Angelo Russell for today. Basically, the main thing for D'Angelo Russell that stood out from his debut. Number one, he didn't start. Obviously, that doesn't help you out too much. Number two would be that he had 30% usage and a 50% assist rate in that game, which also fit pretty well with what he's done in the past. The Lakers' last 2 years, basically, when LeBron and AD come off the court, D'Angelo Russell's been averaging about 1.4 fantasy points per minute. Now he's on Brooklyn, where there really isn't a LeBron, isn't an Anthony Davis out there that kind of dominate the workload. As a result, I think you're seeing kind of that same D'Angelo Russell. So I did juke D'Angelo Russell's rates a little bit today. Gave him, in my rate data, I think 26% usage. Let me see. Basically tried to give him an abbreviated version of what he has or what he's had, both in that Nets game as well as when LeBron and AD haven't played. Yeah, gave Russell 26.5% usage and a 40% assist rate, which is a little bit aggressive. If you give him those kind of numbers, which are in his range of what he's performed when there haven't been really alpha players on the court alongside of him, that's the last 2 years as well. He does look like a different player. So I'm giving him that projection now. I think this is a lot of sim ownership. It feels a little bit high. I could probably split the projection, get it down closer to 32, 33. But D'Angelo Russell's too underpriced. I think one thing that my pal Josh Engelman said yesterday on the stream, which I think was accurate, though I was assuming that Russell started. But Russell right now being priced at 5,100 yesterday, 5,200 today, still being priced like he's on the Lakers, priced like a backup guard when he is technically a backup guard for the Nets right now. But a backup guard that had, again, like dominated 80% of possessions between his usage and his assist rate. So with that spot for D'Angelo Russell, I think he's worth projecting. I think the Cam Thomas questions in chat here, we got these two guys asking it. Cam Thomas being back in does hurt a little bit. Cam Thomas came off the bench last game, though, too, with himself back. So I think one of them is going to start. I'm not sure how that works out. The projection for 30.7 minutes feels a little bit aggressive. He played 26 in his debut, but did play 26 in his first game, and that was without practice. Now they know what they have in him. I think Russell's a good play. I don't know that I love getting him in basically every lineup. I'd rather have LeBron in every lineup, who's my other guy, really coming up a lot in my top 150. For D'Angelo Russell, though, I think he looks like a good play. And if you take him at the face value of just what his rate data is without, both yesterday playing for the Nets and also in the past, playing for the Lakers without the other star players there, he's been a monster. So really the main thing with D'Angelo Russell is kind of trying to put away what he's been as a bench guy for the Lakers and look more at what he is in a situation like he has now where there's aren't legit guys in the Nets at this point. So having Cam Thomas in, it hurts a little bit, but in reality, if Cam Thomas is minutes limited, they can exist. I don't know how they're going to play together, to be honest. That's going to be a little bit weird to see. If they're both coming off the bench, I think that's when you probably want to pull the plug on. I mean, you're not playing Cam Thomas anyway. I'd have a harder time playing Russell off the bench, I think, if Cam Thomas were also coming off the bench, because you just have those two guys who are both usage-heavy guys, especially Cam Thomas, obviously, based on this year. Having them kind of being in the same group, I don't think would be a good thing. But, it's against Milwaukee, so you need points, I guess. That's sort of the main thing to look at. Anyway, for Denny Avdia, he looks like a top value for me as well. Trace Jackson Davis, these two guys we didn't talk about amidst the top protected guys. Trace Jackson Davis, you do have Kevon Looney there, capable of taking minutes away. He's going to be 50% played. I got him at 69% of my lineups. Jackson Davis lately has played upwards of 30 minutes in some spots. He's also played about 20 minutes in others, games where he hasn't closed. A little bit of a risk to his minutes, but that said, you're projecting for 27 minutes. He does look pretty good. Playing at a pretty good pace as well. I'd have him over 1 fantasy point per minute today, given the matchup, and pretty nice price tag on him at 4,700. LeBron, we talked about. Denny Avdia, who I was going to get to. He and Jeremy Grant, basically, when Grant's out, Denny Avdia becomes a much better player, averaging like 1.15 fantasy points per minute. I can pull up the full rates here. We got 23.5% usage in court time without Jeremy Grant, 21% assist rate, 12% rebound rate. The weird thing that I noticed with the court time without Jeremy Grant is that, and this doesn't really matter that much because Anthony Simon's not really a play on the slate, but it seems like having Avdia out here kind of sucks usage away from Anthony Simons in particular, I presume because Avdia rebounds pretty decently and he'll take the ball up himself and basically not look for a point guard. That's part of why Avdia does well with Grant out and also why he kind of hurts the rest of the Trailblazers outlook overall. In particular, Anthony Simons, whose usage and assists both go down when Jeremy Grant is out. Avdia, basically, the point of that is that he does a lot when he's on the court. He does take the ball, does rip it and run a little bit. So I think for Avdia, a strong play here. Busted as, I don't know that he was super chalky last slate because we didn't get the Jeremy Grant news, I think, until after lock. Going to be popular today at 46% owned. I'm at 53%. Again, not a big stand there, but I do think Avdia is worth your chalk ownership. And I have less concerns about him minute-wise than, a Trace Jackson Davis who could lose those minutes at any turn. Austin Reeves. People were asking about Austin Reeves before. He's looking pretty good to me overall. I'm at 41.2. Stokastic has him at 40.9, getting him in 54% of my lineups compared to 49% for the field. Reeves, not quite as big of an uptick without Anthony Davis. Still averaging 1.1 fantasy points a minute in court time without AD. That's 27% usage, 25% assist rate. A little bit up in both categories. Not the big bump, though. LeBron has taken the big bump. I would say if you're going to fade LeBron, Reeves is going to look a lot better to you. But Reeves just kind of gets enough, I think, from Russell being out. You add AD on top of that. I think he's an okay play, but you are kind of paying a little bit of a bonus for him having the triple-double the other day. And, you can do well again, but I don't know you're going to see that kind of upside in this spot. Even though there is more opportunity to go around with no AD out there and no Russell, obviously, is going to be the case moving forward. Dorian Finney-Smith looks like a good value. Day'Ron Sharpe, a good value, though I think this means they might have Clowney not in the projections, I believe, so that would affect things for Sharpe just a little bit. DeAndre Ayton, okay. Again, gains a little bit without having Jeremy Grant out there. Rui Hachimura doesn't take a big jump up without AD, but still averaging about 0.87 fantasy points a minute without Anthony Davis on the court. So that's 400 possessions. Maybe not the biggest sample size. It could get better. 550 is generally the mark we're looking for a stable sample size to stabilize a little bit. But four guys like Rui Hachimura, a little bit less than him. I think the big boost is going to be LeBron and also Austin Reeves. Not a big shocker there. And if you got like a Jackson Hayes start or something, which I don't believe is in the projections, let me see what actually Stokastic did, because I'd update my data really fast and get it out there. I didn't get to take a close look at what they gave minutes wise. They're giving Jackson Hayes 17 minutes DFS. Dorian Finney-Smith giving him 29. That could flip because you could get a Hayes start. In the past, you would have gotten a Hayes start, but I don't know what's going to happen with the new rotation they have. Let's go game by game here. We'll figure this out. Of course, make sure to check out, if you want some more data, some more bets, check out Unabated down below, $30 off, promo code SPLASH. Of course, they are presenting sponsor of the show, help me put it on, and they replied to my invoice in a timely fashion. So really, all the best for Unabated, but a great product will make you better at betting, will make you more money in betting. I believe they've had a 5% ROI on all the bets above a 5% sim EV using their projection set. So it's a little bit better if you go with a higher EV like we do here on stream too. So keep that in mind. Do you get some more Portland since the Lakers defense gets worse with no AD? That wouldn't matter that much. Unless the Vegas total moves, which it probably won't. AD's also not been that great of a defender this year anyway, so I don't know that really matters. But yeah, I mean, like if the total comes up for Portland, you will naturally, but I wouldn't adjust anything now. Indiana, 111.8 implied points. Miami, 113.8 implied points. So competitive game here, bit of a pace down for Indiana. As we talk about a lot here for Indiana, I don't often like the Pacers guys, including Tyrese Halliburton. I do have him projected under a 5x value again. The field will play him 6%. I'm not playing him very much at all. None of the main guys above 5% for me. So we just kind of skim through him with Siakam, Turner, Mathurin. Nembhard's coming up a little bit on a slate where there isn't a ton of crazy value. You're also going to have a good amount of ownership going D'Angelo Russell's way. Going to Nembhard could be appealing. He's going to play 31 minutes or so is that projection. Doesn't play that well per minute, 0.82 fantasy points per minute. But when accounting for the matchup today, I'd have him at 0.92 fantasy points per minute. So Nembhard, not a bad play, a point guard, shooting guard, but certainly not a sexy one. And the other thing, too, that we talk about a lot here, which I think came into effect on yesterday's slate, whenever you have guys from the first games on the slate, it does sort of limit your ability to swap around. You get guys getting ruled out. I'm sure it's going to slow down a little bit with guys getting ruled out unexpectedly out of nowhere, but it has happened to not. And yesterday, like I like to go with Batatse, he played terribly. And Jalen Suggs on that slate, he played okay. But because I had those guys in enough lineups, like I really lost some swappability that were for Miles McBride didn't matter anyway. But as I was trying to kind of work it around, I was like, I wish I just didn't have these guys, even though I think they're good plays. Like you missed out on the ability to kind of get a bunch of Knicks in who look so much better with Brunson out. That's always something to keep in mind for the first couple games on the slate is that if you have a lot of Q tags on the slate, even if you don't, you'd end up with a bunch of guys ruled out and like you just end up with a different value construction than you had when the slate actually started. And that's been the NBA lately. Let's see. We got on Miami side, 113.8 implied points. Duncan Robinson looking okay here. Everything else, not so much. Tyler Hero, I was a little bit better projected in the industry. Have been 42.2 today compared to Stokastic's 41. That said, it was a pace-up spot, but not a high, it's honestly not a bad total for Miami, Indiana, but it's not the highest total you're going to see ever. As a result, having Jimmy Butler in, Butler really kind of in between where you'd want him to be, where he's not super motivated to go nuts. He's still out there playing. I think for Butler, he's okay. Did feel like he was deferring a little bit more to Hero yesterday. I don't know if that holds. It's just going to come down to Jimmy Butler's whims and when he wants to have a game like he had versus Detroit a couple weeks ago, or does he just want to kind of phone it in like it seemed like maybe yesterday? I can't really make a read on that, but it does seem like they're playing him less minutes right now. Projected for 30.9. Obviously, that could be the coming back from injury thing. Could also be that they don't want to, put him at risk for too many minutes, given the fact that he could still get traded, even though Pat Riley is saying what Pat Riley is saying. Screw McBride. There we go. Thoughts on Norman Powell on FanDuel. I'll get there when I get to the Clippers. I don't really have many, though. I don't play on FanDuel. I only know the general projections here for DK. You can make your own assumptions when we get there and we go game by game. For Miami, Duncan Robinson, okay. Jovic, 5% for the field, 5%-ish for me. No big stands here. Not a priority game, so let's just save some time. But Hero, always okay. Adebayo, always okay. Bam, I've been low on generally this year. It's not going to change today. The field will have him about 15%. I'll have him at 2. For Boston, 111.3 implied points. Minnesota, 106.3. Really low total for Boston. Sorry, I'm trying to like line this up perfectly and it's not doing it. 111.3 for Boston is not one of the higher totals you'll get for them. Tough matchup as well. Both teams playing around a 97, 98 pace. So not a lot of possessions to go around there on paper. Theoretically, a competitive game as well here for Minnesota and Boston, but hard to like anything here, especially on the Boston side where these guys are priced, honestly, for a lot softer matchups. 5% of Jason Tatum, again, getting a little bit more on him. SGA, who we talked about, Giannis. It certainly makes sense given that people are going to be paying up pretty obviously in other directions. But Tatum himself, not a great play, 4.8x value. Not even better projected than Stokastic by about 3 points. So I have no issue with Tatum conceptually, but on the slate, there's just better plays, especially LeBron. Besides that, nothing else in Boston looks that good. Jaylen Brown's price tag up. That's that. Pritchard, if Brown is out, I mean, Derek White, Tatum, going to look better, but it's still going to be a low total game going against Minnesota. So sure, but Pritchard's 6K now. Like you're not really gaining value on Pritchard. It's important to kind of be price sensitive with these guys where it's not like you're getting the backup with a huge role. You're getting now the guy priced to be the sixth man of the year, basically. He's regularly in the rotation. Yeah, I mean, it'll look better, but I don't know. I don't think Jaylen Brown's gonna be out. So that's another part of it too. Minnesota, 106.3 implied points on their side. Field gets Anthony Edwards a good amount, 17%. I'm low on him. He and Randall never project that well for me. I'm low on both guys today. You can go there, but a 106-point implied total for Minnesota is really not enough to expect huge outlier days. That said, if Boston and Minnesota's competitive, I mean, if this game ends up going well, you maybe can hold your nose in the projections a little bit because it is a competitive game between theoretically two top teams in the league. So I see getting to Anthony Edwards, but projection-wise, like I don't think it should be 17%. Randall, 10%. I have 1. Gobert, 3.5%. I have 2. DiVincenzo as a value looks a little bit better to me, getting 25% compared to the field's 13. DiVincenzo playing more minutes lately. He's getting into the 30s minutes in some games. He's a little bit too cheap at 4,900, even though he still has been pretty bad on the year at 0.85 fantasy points per minute. Guy used to average over 1 per minute, so pretty decent drop-off for him in his career so far. Jaden McDaniels, I get him on every slate. He killed some lineups for me the other day. Really don't mind him very much, but he is a play here that's 4,100 in small forward, playing about 30 minutes. So Jaden McDaniels, okay. He's no Jaden Daniels. We can all agree. Naz Reid, 10% sim ownership here to 18% for the field. Another value play people get a lot. Never really an issue with him, but he's not standing out too well for me, even though I do have him better projected than Stokastic at 24 points compared to their 23.3. Mike Conley, 11% for me, 13% for the field. There's no big stands here. Getting mixes in of these guys are fine. I am low in the core guys, though. I never really want to take these guys at the price tags are at right now and a matchup where Boston is a good defense. But I get it. I get being there. I don't know why the field's there as much as they are, though, would be the main thing I'm saying. Everybody really on the fuck McBride thing. I mean, it was really one of the worst things. The NBA in general, though, just needs to fix everything from the top down. I don't blame the Knicks for it fully. But it's like games have to start when they start. And like if that had happened yesterday, if that game had actually started at 7:30 as opposed to like 7:40 to 7:45 as it would normally go, you would have known McBride was out because you'd have had the warm-ups before that, and then the game would be going at normal time. So I don't know. I don't know what the fix is. I mean, the NBA just needs to tighten it up in general. For me, like every sport just have it where if you're not good to go, you're not cleared by whatever time period, then the gamblers all know at the same time, 1 hour before lock for every sport. If I were the sports czar, the old Bill Simmons bit, that would be what I would do. But unfortunately, that's not what we have in reality. Brooklyn, 104 implied points. Milwaukee, 13-point favorite, 117 implied points. A little bit of a pace up here for Brooklyn. Nobody here looks that good to me. Cam Thomas, still a bit overpriced for a guy who did play off the bench last game. He can gun, but he's going to be able to gun a little bit less with D'Angelo Russell in the mix, also looking to gun. D'Angelo Russell being projected really well here by me. I'm at 35 fantasy points. Stokastic has been at 29.7. Talked a lot about the rates thing. I really hemmed and hawed over it a little bit. If I had more time, I might have tried to massage it more. The main thing for me was that his rates, going back to the Lakers last year in court time without LeBron and AD, he's been averaging about 1.4 fantasy points per minute. Coming into his Nets debut, he then keeps those rates, basically has 30% usage, even a better version of it. I mean, he had 30% usage, 50% assist rate, like crazy numbers. Obviously, that's one game. It's like 27 minutes or whatever he played. It's not the biggest sample size, but I think seeing that little bit of a sign of like what he is, at least in that one game, I feel comfortable just giving him his old rates that he's had, again, for the last 2 years in the Lakers without LeBron and AD on the court. So when you do it like I did it here, you get D'Angelo Russell projected better. That said, when he's going to be 45% played, I mean, you can come over the top. You could be with the field. You could fade him entirely. I would say the more logical approach is not to come too far over the top like I am here. Probably getting him in more of like half your lineups. But Russell's a good play. I think really the main thing is like wipe out whatever negative things you've thought of Russell. If anything, go back to where, the good things you thought about him when he played on Brooklyn, where he was a guy that would be priced at, 7K, 8K, 9K pretty regularly and have the upside to beat those price tags. I think that's kind of what you're getting here. But I do worry, though, as I mentioned before, like if you get the Brooklyn starters and it's not Cam Thomas starting and it's also not D'Angelo Russell starting, I'd worry a little bit more. I think Russell starts, though. I think without Ben Simmons, I think they're going to put him in as lead guard, but we'll see. But yeah, if you get both guys coming off the bench, I'd worry about that because then it's just two guys that want to shoot going up against each other, which is not going to be ending well for anybody, especially if they get smoked by Milwaukee, which is total does indicate it's a possibility. Getting a little bit of Day'Ron Sharpe as well as a value, though. The projections did put Clowney back in. So, yeah, Sharpe an okay play, not a priority, but at 3,500, playing decent minutes as a backup, averaging 1.1 fantasy points a minute. He's your Jalen Smith of the slate, the backup center we talk about a lot, where there's no really obvious value. You get a backup center who produces well. He's one of those guys. We got Milwaukee here with 117 implied points. Giannis here, 9% sim exposure for me in my top 150 compared to the field's 15. I just like LeBron a lot more. I have LeBron better projected straight up than Giannis, so that's simple as that. Chris Middleton getting 9%. He's probable today compared to the field's 5 minutes coming up from a little bit today with a 28-minute projection. So he's okay, but honestly priced pretty appropriately. Adam has a 5X value for today. Playing well in the year, though. I don't know if he's going to play quite as well playing more minutes, but he's been really efficient, putting up a lot of assists, getting good usage while he's been out there. Don't love Milwaukee. Really the main thing here. Brooklyn, not a fast-paced team either. It is a pace down, as you can see right here. So Giannis is a pivot point to LeBron. I get it, but LeBron just projects better. That's where it is. Is it a bad process for me to bump Ayton's projections? Feel like he should dominate the glass? Why? Because AD is out? I don't know. I don't think that's a good process. No. Look, you want to play him more. I think he projects okay enough you can get there. Really, the main thing for me is like if a guy projects well enough and you have a reason to go above and beyond, that's okay. But if the guy doesn't project well, don't be there. But with Grant out, I have Ayton projected okay. I just don't think it's like, oh, it's because it's such a great rebounding matchup now. It's because there's more usage to go around with Jeremy Grant not in there. The Lakers going to be a little bit easier, more susceptible to stay in the game, I guess, going against them. But AD has been shitty defending anyway. And I mean, he rebounds well, but it's not like he's keeping guys off the glass and stopping them. It just doesn't matter that much. You just roll with it when you get a 95% guy like D'Lo or make adjustments for lock. People who aren't me would sometimes make adjustments. It just depends on what's the reason I'm getting it for. For Russell, I think I'm coming by it earnestly with looking at the Lakers rates and all that. We got to go Batadze. I got him in a lot of my lineups yesterday, but I kind of paired and picked and choose where I wanted him. So it just depends for me. My exposures tend to be pretty close to the sim ones usually. But to be candid, like what I do right now is I just use my projections on the solver. I then just take lineups. I handpick them basically. I was sitting them through Stokastic before for a point, but frankly, for me, I'm just in the big tournaments. I want to like kind of hand curate my lineups more because I'm putting in 5 to 10 in a given night if it's not a cheap tournament. So that's sort of been my approach here. But I still would say for most people, like just trust the sim for the most part, and then tweak the sim projection wise. Like if you think D'Angelo Russell's a shitty play, knock his projection down 5 points, see what happens. That's what I would recommend doing if you're not building your own projection set. For me, the projection set kind of is my sim, where it's like it's a reflection of what I think is going to happen on the slate. So I tend to just trust it for the most part. But, with an eyeball test, everything should always kind of have an eyeball test with it. Clippers, 102.3 implied points. Oklahoma City, 113.3. Again, going to hit the world of unabated and prop betting markets in about 5 minutes, so stay tuned there. Of course, Stokastic, I'll be on the deeper dive today at 5:30 as well, so come back for that one. Half-hour break in between. If you want to not hear me for a half hour, I would completely get it. Getting Ivica Zubac 15% compared to the field's 9. Don't love this matchup for Harden. Don't love the matchup for Zubac quite that much, but Zubac projects okay. Harden not quite as okay. If you want to make the case, revenge game for Harden, you certainly could, but Oklahoma City's going to throw a lot of good wing defenders at him. I don't love the spot, but still a game here. 11-point spread favoring OKC. Not even as close of a spread as I would have thought. Not a high total for the Clippers. Clippers side doesn't look that great. Norman Powell, I don't know what his FanDuel price is, if it's something magical on there. For Powell, I don't think he's a good play on DraftKings, but whatever. Maybe it looks different on FanDuel. I don't know. Is Harden a Q tag? I believe so. Whatever. I have to talk about the slate as I'm talking about it right now. If Harden's out, everybody else opens up. It's just a different team entirely. So nothing really matters at that point. But everybody's going to look better. Norman Powell in particular, Zubac in particular. But I would think the odds of getting killed here increases. And frankly, the total, I guess, to Steven's point about Harden being a Q tag, 11-point spread without Harden feels right. 11-point spread with Harden feels a little bit heavy. Even though the Clippers are not a world beater team, I don't think they're 11-point spread dogs on the road kind of team either. So maybe Harden doesn't go here, but for right now, this is what it projects as. But yeah, I would give the boost to Powell. Theoretically, you would give the boost to Porter, Dunn. Just everybody looks better because you're losing Harden's, about 67% of possessions he takes on the floor between his usage rate and his assist rate. For Oklahoma City on their side, talk about SGA being a pivot point again. To your LeBron ownership being pretty high up there. Your Embiid ownership also seemingly being pretty high. SGA, no issue with him here. Home revenge game for him against the former team, if that matters for you. But really, SGA, not a great price tag. LeBron projects about 9 points better for me at $1,000 less. So I'm not going to be there, but that's the chalk assumption on the slate. If you want to play a tournament style build, go to SGA, perfectly logical. Jalen Williams, maybe a guy who could beat out LeBron if things go poorly for the Lakers. Hard to imagine it going poorly, given that they're facing Portland. But Jalen Williams here, 9% ownership for me, 7% for the field. Really not a big stand here. Hartenstein, I can see to be high on. He's just been rebounding too well this year that he keeps popping in my rate data. It can go either way. Like sometimes you have two good rebounders going against each other, like Hartenstein, like Zubac. It could end up being a thing where they both end up getting there because they're just both around the hoop trying to chase each other down. Sometimes what you see though when you have two good rebounders going against each other is like one guy just boxing the other guy out just so other guys can grab rebounds. That's the game theory concern I'd have for having this much Hartenstein. But he projects well. He's not too expensive. He's got 40-point upside, and I have him projected for 40 flat today. So I'm okay with Hartenstein here, but he kind of like Goga Batata yesterday. I feel a little bit uncomfortable with the projection relative to the matchup. So same thing here. Lou Dort, 7% ownership for me compared to 26% for the field. There's not great value in the slate. Dort is shooting guard, small forward. It's probably as simple as that for him at 4,200. That said, not a priority play for me. I have other value plays I'm getting to. So Dort, I don't mind. Feels like a weird anti-stand against Dort, but he's only averaging 0.74 fantasy points a minute. So it's not really a rule of thumb because Dort plays enough minutes. He's going to be projected for 31 today. But when you have a chalky guy putting up 0.7 fantasy points per minute, you could take somebody else, take a shot. Like there's not really a reason to love Dort on the slate. Not really a reason to love Keyshawn Wallace on the slate. They're just kind of guys who are getting there because their price tag is low enough and the team total's high enough. These guys are coming up a lot. I'm not getting there for Keyshawn Wallace or Dort, and I'm okay with it. Eric Gordon were the value play? Probably not. We'll look at that game next. Eric Gordon. Where's his price tag? This is such a random question to ask about Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon not projected to get minutes today, so no. Would be my assumption. He's projected for 0.5 minutes. It doesn't mean he's going to get in the rotation though, so I don't know about that. But it's a weird ask. I get he's 3K minimum, but I don't know why you're thinking about Eric Gordon on the slate. That's not necessarily the best process. Philadelphia 106.3 implied. Like there's nobody out for Philadelphia. Why would Eric Gordon? I mean, I'm just trying to give you like my honest feedback to that is like, there's no guarantee he gets back in. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But you have a 10-man rotation expected to get minutes already. Caleb Martin's minutes have been up. I guess theoretically Eric Gordon can shave a few minutes away from Martin or Lowry, who barely has any minutes anyway. But like, don't like that's not the thing. There's obvious value to go to. Anyway, for Philadelphia, 106.3 implied points. I'm low in Embiid. I gave Embiid the ceremonial, hey, your rates for this year don't matter. Let's look at the longer-term sample size thing. Still couldn't get there. I think because I do have Paul George projected a little bit better. I do have in general. Did we get Philly news? What is it? I'm obviously doing a show, so please feel free to tell me if there's actual Philadelphia news. I'm checking my Twitter. Oh, Drummond out, Oubre out. Okay, well, now that would change a little bit. Still probably doesn't open up. And Embiid now questionable. Embiid's such a fucking pussy. This isn't even a matchup he should be afraid of, and he's still a pussy. Okay, so with Drummond out and Embiid questionable, and that's a downgrade, I think it's going to look better for Maxey and Paul George theoretically, but Embiid could still go. So that's the shitty part of this one. This is also a later start, too, because of being on the West Coast, right? This is a 10 o'clock start time. So Embiid... if we don't get Embiid ruled out, he now fucks up everything for the slate. Paul George and Maxey look borderline playable before. I juiced Embiid's rates a little bit. Now with that news, man, I don't know. Yeah, I think that you're going to open up a lot more value for Yabusele. You're going to open up theoretically more opportunity here. I'm telling you what the rotation is. There's a team of players that are using it. I don't care about Philadelphia's rotation that much right now, But really the main point is like, there are people here that are much smarter than you and I that do this for minutes. They have Eric Gordon for less than 1 minute. So follow your heart if you want to chase it. Your opportunity of it getting better looks good here, but like you have enough wings. Oubre being out maybe opens up a little bit more, but they could also go to Ricky Council more. I don't know. I'll tell you if we get an update here. I'll know on the deeper dive. We'll get an update for that by then. But yeah, like I don't think that Eric Gordon is still a good play, even with that news. And with him playing 27 minutes, like one game doesn't mean everything is what I would say. Definitely odd that he played 27 minutes coming off the oral surgery thing, kept him out for a while, but that is what it is. Anyway, Yabusele is going to look like a lot better play now with Drummond out. He did luck out a little bit. But like, hey, one game sample, I guess, could mean something, could mean absolutely nothing. Yeah, so as a result, this one, let's just throw this out for now. Maxey would look better if Embiid's out. Paul George looks better with Embiid out. Both guys look better from not having Oubre in. Drummond now not being a play. Yabusele is going to be your direct benefit if Embiid is out, and there's going to be a lot of minutes to go his way. So that's sort of the main things to take away for now, but we'll know more when I do more content in an hour. Golden State, 109.8 implied points. We got to get to the unabated part of the show. Fucking it's Eric Gordon shit. Really distract me. Who cares? I mean, I get it. But like, that's one game. Weird things happen in one game. Do we really want to fucking go to Philadelphia and look at why Eric Gordon might have gotten the minutes? I'll look it up if we really want to make this a conversation point. I just want to get through the shit I got to get through in the video, guys. Throw me a curveball, but Eric Gordon doesn't matter. All right, so he came in for Yabusele, and he basically played the 4. It's odd. Okay. Then the second half, he took all Kyle Lowry's minutes for reasons unclear. Like he took Lowry's minutes and he wasn't doing anything while doing it. Did Lowry got hurt in game, right? Was that why? Pretty sure Lowry left that game early. So that would be the reason why, was that Lowry was in and then he got hurt, and then you got Gordon playing the full game. He did nothing though in that second half. I mean, like put up no stats here, 3 points and 2 peripheral stats there. Lowry is bad. Lowry's bad in general. I don't know. If you want to read into Eric Gordon, he's 3K minimum, knock yourself out. I'll see what Stokastic gives me for a projection, but this is how the whole thing works. It's not really about like my minutes guesses unless there's something I feel is completely wrong. If a guy spikes for one game because Kyle Lowry got hurt, Kyle Lowry sucked, whatever the case may be, like you're still going to have the projections be lower the next game. Like it's not going to be all of a sudden Eric Gordon gets 27 minutes because he got 27 minutes last game. He got 27 minutes because it kind of broke in a weird way that was positive for him. So really like minutes, much like any projection, ownership, same thing. It's all on a spectrum and you have to keep it in mind. But in general, your way to build NBA projections is to kind of split the middle here. So even if you thought Eric Gordon's going to get a ton of minutes, you'd give him like 14 right now because just based on how he was playing and wasn't in the rotation basically for a while, like you don't expect him to play that much. But weird things happen. So that's I think would be more filed under weird things happen to be my guess. We're talking about Eric Gordon. Yes, 2025 Eric Gordon, the hottest Eric Gordon ever. Golden State. So you got some Q tags here for Steph Curry. Again, who knows how this is going to break right now. If you get a Steph Curry out, get anybody else out here, it's a short enough rotation. You could want to get there a little bit more. Right now, though, Kuminga looks like a key play, 26% for the field. I'm getting him at 25%. Trace Jackson Davis, talked about the risk with him, with Kevon Looney being able to take minutes away, but seemingly not as directly involved in the rotation every game now. Jackson Davis could play 20 minutes. He could play plus 30. He's playing well enough at 1.12 fantasy points per minute that he's probably worth that field's 50% exposure. But if he loses minutes here, there's probably not a direct beneficiary. It's just him not getting there and Looney taking enough minutes away that he's also not a good play, but hurts Jackson Davis. But he's a decent value play right now in a slate where there aren't any. So Trace Jackson Davis, 4,700. If you got Yabusele playing and Embiid out, or Yabusele's playing anyway, if you get Embiid out and Yabusele starting, Yabusele and Jackson Davis are probably two very similar plays, and Yabusele will steal ownership from Jackson Davis a little bit. But you can play them both, and they both are going to look pretty good if you get Embiid out. Wiggins getting 13%, Fields at 13%. Schroeder getting 22%, Fields at 24.7%. Both I and Stokastic have the exact same projection. I think we're just keeping the rates flat. Schroeder's been pretty awful at Golden State so far. Doesn't seem like he knows where to fit in the offense. But you're getting him here. Price tag's low enough at 5K, but he really is not where he's at. We haven't got to the unabated part yet. It's coming up in a moment. Unfortunately, Eric Gordon convo distracted me a little bit too much. Last game on the slate, Portland, 107.5. Lakers 116.5. And guys, if you're watching this one, look, if my commitment to at least try and answer your questions is not evident, I do the best I can here every day, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. for the NBA channel, Monday to Friday, 11 a.m., and Sunday at 9 a.m. for the NFL channel. So please do subscribe down below. Please hit the like button. Check out our sponsors too. It all goes a long way for me here. I'm just one guy trying to keep this channel up and running, trying to get to our first 1K subs on here so I can show you ads on YouTube. I can't do it yet. I can do memberships now. I can't do ads yet. So please hit the like button, subscribe. It does go a long way. And check out Underdog, $1,000 of bonus cash, promo code SPLASH. Stokastic, 15% off their data I'm showing you on screen. The Sims I'll show you. It's all 15% off at Stokastic. Link in the description there. See all their packages. Pick one for yourself. Unabated, $30 off. It's the only deal they have going right now in their monthly packages. So get it. Use promo code SPLASH at unabated.com/NBA. You have to wait for me to show you the bets, and you can do it all yourself. And the solver too, link in the description for them because I do use them for optimizing lineups, as I mentioned. All right. Last game here, Portland. You're getting no Jeremy Grant in. As a result, chalk Denny Avdia, 46% for the field, 53% for me. He's averaging over 1.1 fantasy points per minute without Jeremy Grant on the year. Usage goes up, assist rate goes up. Denny Avdia becomes a pretty good play, while also kind of hurting the starting lineup a little bit because he does a little bit of everything. But Avdia, good value play, small forward, power forward. One of the better plays in the slate, I would think. Portland's got enough guys, though, so if they wanted to give Avdia less minutes, they could. And 31 minutes for Avdia. There's some guys playing more minutes you could always play. But he does produce pretty well. I'd have him at 1.08 fantasy points per minute today. Simons, I'm low on here. DeAndre Ayton, I'm high on 27% compared to 13%. Nothing to do with the AD matchup, just relative to the Vegas total and the fact that Ayton gets a little bit of a rate boost without Jeremy Grant out there. He's been averaging without Grant 1.1 fantasy points per minute. Actually the same as Denny Avdia, 1.14 for both. 22% usage, 20% rebound rate, 7% assist rate. Basically, Ayton's become a better player overall without Grant out there. Grant just gets up shots and does nothing useful, so I think he kind of hurts that starting group. These guys all look a little bit better, but again, having Avdia out there doing a little bit of everything kind of takes away a little bit for the assist and rebound guys in particular. Besides that here, Lakers on their side, we've talked about enough. LeBron, big stand for me, 95% compared to the field's 58. I just gave him his rates without AD on the court this year. He's been playing at a 1.54 fantasy point per minute pace in 705 possessions. Maybe he doesn't keep that up across an entire game, but I do think for LeBron, it looks like a key play. How much sharp do I have? You can see it on the screen. Right here, 2% sharp right here. Like all the things that you wonder about my exposures for my top 150, you can see them right here. Just pause it, go full screen if you want. You should be able to see it, hopefully. If you can't see it, let me know, and I can try to make it bigger. Austin Reeves, 54% for me compared to the field's 49. Rui Hachimura, 25% for me compared to the field's 20. Dorian Finney-Smith, 13% compared to the field's 5. Low on Max Christie, who doesn't do a whole lot at 0.64 fantasy points per minute, but he's going to get you about 28, 30 minutes. So that's that. Rui, I just mentioned Rui. Rui looked a little bit better here, 25% compared to the field's 20. So looks a little bit better. Not as big of a jump as LeBron. Not as big of a jump as Austin Reeves. All right, guys, you know the deal now. You want your unabated. You want some good bets. Let's go over to it, and let's play this video to tell you all about unabated and their conditional NBA projections. Please go check it out for yourself and learn more right now. Oh, look at those expert NBA projections. You got them going every day with unabated. This is the fan of the boys doing good work for all of you on your behalf. Got conditional projections. Again, just keep Zion out always. That's a safe way to play things on any slate. DeJounte Murray, put him in, but not shooting well. That's how DeJounte Murray goes. Real-time news alerts. You don't want to be on Twitter anymore. Don't want to be on X. You're tired of Elon Musk serving you his content. Good news. You can just get the same alerts via your Discord to get an unabated membership. Do you want some graphs? Oh, the people want graphs. Graphs. Shots. Graphs. That's what they're doing. They're LMFAOing graphs every single day. Expert live streams. Similar expert levels to me, a little bit less whimsy, a little bit more serious discussion of rotations. They'll answer your Eric Gordon bullshit, maybe. I don't know. Unabated.com/NBA, though. Go check it out. All right, let's run a sim here. Unabated projections loading. Conditional projections, we're leaving everybody not visible. So your Embiid, your Harden, your Curry, your Clowney, your Jaylen Brown, your Porzingis. We're going to have less teams as a result, but I won't have to explain the if-then conditionals, if guys being in, guys being out stuff. And we're going to run DFS sims in a moment as well, so stay tuned for that. But obviously, you got to do the unabated part first here. All these bets are hot and fresh, much like bread from Subway. That's probably not the best example. Come drums, thank you. Graphs, there we go. I like it. All right. Dorian Finney-Smith over 6 points, 21.7% EV right now on PrizePicks. Does not look good anywhere else, but Dorian Finney-Smith over 6 points on PrizePicks gets you the most EV of any of the points bets right now. Nikola Jovic, 17.6% EV on over 7.5 points. That one is only available on Underdog. So get the higher on 7.5 points. It's a 17.6% EV on Underdog, 8.9% EV on DK Sportsbook, where it's over 8.5 points for Jovic at minus 105 odds. SGA under 31.5 points looks pretty good on FanDuel Sportsbook. Minus 110 odds gets you 12.7% EV. Still getting 9% EV on PrizePicks and Underdog, and the same EV on DraftKings Sportsbook as FanDuel as well. So SGA unders everywhere, under 31.5 wherever you can get it. Scoot Henderson under 12.5 points. This one with Jeremy Grant out doesn't get enough of the boost to make Scoot a good play for the over. You're taking under 12.5 at minus 110 odds on DK Sportsbook if you want the highest EV of 12.4%. You also take Scoot under 12.5 on your pick'em sites. PrizePicks and Underdog both have it as lower 12.5 points at decent enough odds. 8.7% EV for that. Andre Jackson under 3.5 points. It's a 12.3% EV on FanDuel Sportsbook at minus 102 odds. Not available anywhere else. So get your Andre Jackson fix on FanDuel under 3.5 points, minus 102 odds. Gets you 12.3% EV. Bam Adebayo under 18.5 points on PrizePicks. You get 11.7% EV. Not bettable elsewhere. So take Bam Adebayo under 18.5 points on PrizePicks only. And that one's gone now. So goodbye, Bam. Goodbye. Naz Reid over 10.5 points. That one's on FanDuel Sportsbook. Minus 118 odds, 10.3% EV for Naz Reid over 10.5 points. And Taurean Prince under 6.5 points. Looking good on your pick'em sites. 9.3% EV for under 6.5 points for Taurean Prince on Underdog PrizePicks. Running rebounds coming up next. Here we go. Why? Fuck you. What the fuck is that for? Suck my dick. What is the fucking? I don't even know you. What are you fucking coming in here saying that? That's a fucking instant ban. I don't care. That's a 5-minute timeout because I accidentally clicked that instead. What the fuck, man? I'm just reading out fucking bets. Go to hell. Oh man, it's hard being a YouTube person. I'll tell you what. So one of the things they don't tell you about becoming a YouTube content creator, you just get people being mean to you for no fucking reason. I just show up and do streams, show people my projections that I work really hard on, but a lot of love into. I don't even know who that guy is. What? Anyway, I think people do Chris as well, but thank you. I appreciate it. I try to bug out less. Jesus. It doesn't bother me anymore, I guess is the good part, but why? He subscribed and waited 5 minutes to do that. 19.9% EV for Pascal Siakam over 6.5 rebounds. That one's at minus 120 odds on DK Sportsbook. PrizePicks, you got over 7 rebounds. Usual PrizePicks odds there gets you 11.4% EV. Rui Hachimura, 16 points. Thank you, extra QT. I don't think it was a linguist-like meltdown. It was just really took me aback. Like sometimes, I'm mean to the chat sometimes too. I get it. But also, I do it for a reason. It's not usually because somebody's just hanging out. Rui Hachimura is 16.6% EV. Whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. Eat at Arby's. Nihilist Arby's. 16.6% EV for Rui Hachimura over 5 rebounds. Not good anywhere else, but is good on PrizePicks for Rui Hachimura over 5 rebounds. Just some guy saying shithead for no reason. I don't know why. Wasn't that deep. But it was distracting. Gary Trent under 2.5 rebounds. I'd be mean to you again, Josh. Minus 140 odds on DK Sportsbook for Gary Trent under 2.5 rebounds. 14.3% EV on that one. Does not look like it's available on your pick'em sites or FanDuel. Aaron Wiggins under 2.5 rebounds, 14.2% EV on Underdog. Not available on PrizePicks. So take the lower for Aaron Wiggins, 14.2% EV. Anthony Simons, 13.9% EV. Under 2.5 rebounds, gets you plus 108 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. Also playable at slightly less good odds on DK Sportsbook. Under 2.5 rebounds for Simons there at plus 105. Dalton Connect over 3.5 rebounds. No AD. More rebounds to go around. That's your game theory there. 13.4% EV for Dalton Connect. Minus 113 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook for over 3.5 rebounds. And Max Christie under 3.5 rebounds. Plus 100 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. Get you 9.9% EV. Assists. Sim them out. Drink some water. It's been a chaotic show. First show of the new year. Who knew? Eric Gordon's a shithead. That's right. Get on that guy. We don't even know how many minutes he's playing in a given day. He's confusing people. Confusing me, confusing other people. Tamani Kamara, over 1.5 assists, 16.6% EV on your pick'em sites. PrizePicks and Underdog, good to go. Happy New Year to you too, Consigliere. Appreciate you. Happy New Year to all you guys watching live. 150 of you, please subscribe, guys. We're going to get to 1,000. About 60% of the people watching this channel, right, by the way, don't subscribe. And it does go a long way for me here. I'm just one dude showing you my work, taking the slings and arrows of random guys who I don't know. So please show some love. Like and subscribe down below. It does go a long way. I report back to Unabated and tell them how good we're doing. So please, leave me something good to talk to Unabated about. 13% EV at plus 100 odds. FanDuel Sportsbook. Over 2.5 assists for Shaden Sharp. You can play it on DK Sportsbook as well. Shaden Sharp over 2.5 at minus 110. But your best bet is FanDuel Sportsbook at the plus 100 odds. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over 5.5 assists. 12.8% EV at plus 110 odds. That's available on DK Sportsbook. Julius Randle over 3.5 assists. This one's not playable. I don't even know why I read it. You don't want to play that Randle one. Luis, nice chat, though. Appreciate your hard work. Thank you, Luis. I appreciate you watching. All right. PRAs. So you got here. Let's make sure we're pulling in all the markets so we can sort it and get you guys some good bets. And, of course, there's a lot more bets on here if you paid for it yourself. You can just mark guys in, mark guys out. If you think Steph Curry's not going to play, take a look at the lines without him. Embiid now getting the downgrade, would be pretty reasonable to mark him out, sim out some lines with that. So treat the Unabated tool how you want to. I just show you guys the least, the most risk-averse version of here because I don't want people coming in getting fucking slaughtered by information on the stream. It's always the goal. And hey, thank you for that, Thomas. Even if I can't watch the show, still pop in to like the stream. You're the GOAT. GL tonight. Thank you, Thomas. It's really, really kind of you to say. I like your NBA takes. That's why I ask your advice. Thank you, DFS Adicto. I don't like that last name. I hope I hope not, but I appreciate it. Thank you for that. Look, I'll always tell you how I view it. I'll try to do it politely, usually, unless you're mean to me. Then it's all the gloves are off. Doing old-timey Irish boxing here like this. The Conan O'Brien bets. Okay, your PRA's bets. Let's get to this. We'll get to the DFS sim. Get out of here by 5. Dorian Finney-Smith, 28% EV on over 10.5 PRAs. That one is a PrizePicks exclusive right now for Dorian Finney-Smith. 28% EV on over 10.5 rebound or 10.5 PRAs. Excuse me. Don't take the rebounds bet. DeAndre Ayton under 28.5 PRAs. 12.9% EV on Underdog for the lower on 28.5 PRAs for DeAndre Ayton. I like him as a play, but yeah, bets are the bets. SGA under 42.5 PRAs, 11.3% EV on FanDuel Sportsbook. Still could play it on DK Sportsbook as well. 8% EV for under 42.5 PRAs at minus 115 odds. Definitely much better to get it at minus 108. Isaiah Hartenstein under 27.5 PRAs gets you good to go on Underdog, 9% EV on there. You don't want anywhere else, but you can play Hartenstein on Underdog, 9% EV on under 27.5 PRAs. And Anthony Simons, our last EV bet here, over 8%. You can take all the ones above 5% if you want, but 8% is a little bit safer from what I've been told. Under 27.5 PRAs on your pick'em sites here, PrizePicks and Underdog for Anthony Simons, under 27.5 PRAs, 8.4% EV. If you're desperate for a bet, you can still play it on DK Sportsbook under 27.5. Talked about McBride before. Yes, I did play him. Yes, I wasn't happy with it. But I didn't do a stream, though, so that's the reason why. I'm all good luck when I do a stream, and apparently I'm just a McBride jinx when I'm not doing a stream. Let's build some Stokastic DFS sims now. You saw my sim exposure with my projections. Now we'll see what the sim exposures are without me influencing it at all. Let's see what we get. 5,000 lineups. Let's generate them out. Whew. A lot going on for day after New Year's, guys. But hey, content marches on. This is the season for NBA. If you're going to get in now with the NFL season winding down, I'll still be doing NFL content on the regular Splash Play channel at Splash Play Pod. Of course, for all the DFS slates, some playoff best ball as well. But here for NBA, I think you're getting in at a good time. Projections, frankly, at this point, with about 30 games for each team, feel a little bit better about kind of the way that I approach projections, which is making these 30 games for these teams count as much as an entire season worth compared to last season. So I've been feeling really good about my data lately, besides some aberrations like Batadze fucking being awful yesterday. But frankly, sometimes guys are going to bust. That's the way that goes. Pause, I'm sure. But sometimes those guys are going to bust. Does Stokastic do the ROI on a hand build for NBA 2? It does. I don't usually do it on screen, but here, you can see the same. Here, it's this thing here. That's what it would look like. You can zoom out. There you go. But yeah, I don't hand build on here because frankly, my hand build will just be projections anyway. Your data's tight. Thank you. You actually, I think when I get my druthers together and can set it up, I think what I'm going to do is set up a tier on here where you can get my data sheet every day. Not sure I'm going to do that because I don't want to have people have access in perpetuity if they're not a paying member. But I have to figure that out. But I think that's what I'm going to do for our first offering here on the channel. And I also forgot to do the thing. I forgot to switch the titles here. Basketball logo. My guy Ross doesn't correct me anymore. But it's a basketball day here. But yeah, so stay tuned for that. For right now, just keep subscribing. You got to get to 1,000 subs so I can get that sweet, sweet YouTube ad revenue going. We all win then when you guys get more ads and I get fractional amounts of money. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's zoom in a little bit so you can see it better because I just zoomed out. Oh, let me switch tabs as well. All right. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Are your top ROI lineup right now? D'Angelo Russell, according to Stokastic projections. Again, no influence for me on this one, just their data. Kason Wallace, Rui Hachimura, Dorian Finney-Smith, Kristaps Porzingis, who is questionable as well. Dennis Schroeder, LeBron James, Joel Embiid. So Embiid downgraded here, still in the projection set. That's okay. Thank you. Thank you, Robert Griffin III. I appreciate it. D'Angelo Russell, Lou Dort, Rui Hachimura. The honest thing was that it was probably keeping me honest in a way that I needed. But I got to remember to do it. It's just sometimes because when I open full screen, I don't see the things. That's the big issue. D'Angelo Russell, your number 2 ROI lineup. Lou Dort, Rui Hachimura, LeBron James, Isaiah Hartenstein, Austin Reeves, Dorian Finney-Smith, DeAndre Ayton. So some Lakers, some former Lakers in there. You're getting LeBron where I expected him. A lot up top. Number 3 ROI lineup is Mike Conley, Tyler Hero, Rui Hachimura, Jalen Williams, Trace Jackson Davis, D'Angelo Russell, Dorian Finney-Smith, Joel Embiid. A lot of WNBA-ass names in that lineup, but all good players there. Kason Wallace, no disrespect to the WNBA. Anthony Edwards, Chris Middleton. We're supposed to talk about the names. Jalen Williams, Dorian Finney-Smith, Austin Reeves, Denny Avdia, and Rui Hachimura. And at number 5, TJ McConnell, Dennis Schroeder, Rui Hachimura, Dorian Finney-Smith, Naz Reid, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Joel Embiid. So LeBron in 3 out of your top 5 lineups, Embiid in 3 out of the top 5. I'm surprised LeBron's just not in everywhere, to be honest. Granted, I know I have him about 6 points higher than Stokastic does in projections, but he has been a legit beat. He's been not quite Jokic level, but he's been Giannis level with AD off the court this year. And you're playing Portland, so I kind of feel like it's an ideal spot for him, but who knows? Your top exposures, actually top ROIs first. Highest ROIs according to Stokastic data, 18.5% ROI for Dorian Finney-Smith, 15.5% for Rui Hachimura. So all you guys want Rui Hachimura more. The Sims are on top of that. Besides those guys, you got -3% Isaiah Hartenstein, -5% Kason Wallace, -5.3% Day'Ron Sharpe, -5.8% for Joel Embiid. Outside of the Eric Gordon, your data site, thank you. I mean, I don't make minutes. That's the main thing for me. If I did make minutes, I would have known the Eric Gordon thing. But it's so much easier to have somebody else as your minutes source. Whenever I have a question about minutes, I'll consult Unabated's minutes and Stokastic's, but I just let their minutes ride for the most part because I like making minutes the hardest part of projections. Projections themselves hard too, but the minutes part is where you could fuck up. So I think that's why too, when I see Eric Gordon having 1 minute, I think you just trust the projections on that normally. Probably to be different now with Oubre out though. Your top exposed players, Rui Hachimura making 75% of lineups. So Stokastic users today are going to have a big stand on Rui Hachimura. I get it with the price tag, 5,300, but he has only averaged 0.87 fantasy points per minute without AD. It's not like he's some world beater. So Hachimura, I would trust Reeves and LeBron substantially more than that. Wait until instead of junior in the 3rd, you keeping your mom's last names of the jerseys. Oh, that's fun. Yeah. Well, that's what Josh Allen did. I think the not MVP Josh Allen, Josh Hines Allen, I think put the Hines in because he felt like he was disrespecting his mom somehow by not having her name on the jersey, I believe is a thing. So yeah, that seems like a fairly a woke thing to do. Not that I'm the one that's ever going to complain, but that does feel like a thing that would happen. 69% exposure for Austin Reeves compared to 50% for the field. Joel Embiid, 58% exposure compared to 33% for the field. I am not that high in Embiid. I got to tell you, even before the Q tag thing, not that high in him. Now I think you'd assume he doesn't go, but because it's Embiid, he's just such a fucking pussy. He really just an unbelievable one. This is a good matchup to go against Golden State. So he should want to play it, but Jesus Christ, man, just play or don't play. Denny Avdia, 43% exposure, Fields at 46. So they're a little bit lower on Avdia than I am. Kason Wallace, 41% compared to 24. So higher on Kason Wallace. I was real low on Kason. So not love that. Lou Dort, I was low on as well. LeBron, they're low on too. 39% exposure compared to 58% for the field. I got to say, I strongly disagree. I think LeBron's a smash play tonight at the exposure. I do think there's some merit when you're not playing LeBron. You you got to play the other pay up guys. Like just give yourself another out if LeBron fails. But it's a very stable sample size of him this year without AD, and he's been a demon. Again, 33% usage, 41% assist rate, 16% rebound. That's a lot. Questionable as a torn labia. He's got to do his crypto ads. I feel like I see more Embiid in crypto ads in the Philadelphia area now than I do for him actually playing basketball. Rui Hachimura getting 56% positive leverage. They really love Rui. So you want to follow Stokastic data today, play a lot of Rui Hachimura, a lot of Dorian Finney-Smith. Getting 29% leverage on Finney-Smith as well. 25% leverage on Joel Embiid, 18% on Austin Reeves, 17% on Kason Wallace, 11% on Lou Dortz. They love that Thunder Wing spot. I feel like the Thunder Wings, I wouldn't say they're trappy, but I feel like they come up enough like where they go a couple of weeks without being chalk. Then all of a sudden they're chalk one day. The price tags come up because they're chalk one day. Then they go back down again. I think that cycle happens so often. And granted, I'm somebody that plays a lot of fucking Wiggins on that team way too often, but it's still like, it doesn't feel like that good of a spot for those guys. They're just kind of cheap, but they're not like great plays. Kason Wallace and Dort, that is. Anyway, your most negative leverage plays. So I put him on the thumbnail. I updated the thumbnail, put him on there. I think he's the smash play. Stokastic does not like LeBron today. Negative 19% leverage. Still get him 40% of the lineups with him, but they don't like the ownership at 58. So seems like they think he's overowned, if you want to take that away from this. Jonathan Kuminga, negative 15% leverage, 26% for the field compared to 11% in Stokastic's top 150 lineups. Trace Jackson Davis, negative 12%. You're still getting him in 39% of lineups, though. D'Angelo Russell, negative 9%, but still in 36% of lineups. So less chalk for Trace Jackson Davis, less chalk for D'Angelo Russell in the Stokastic top 150. But they're still coming up enough. Max Christie, I think he's shit. The Stokastic Sims agree. 1% compared to 9% for the field. And Andrew Wiggins, you're getting negative 8% leverage on him, 5% compared to 12. All right, so that's it, guys. That's your DFS Sims. That's your unabated bets. What could go wrong with crypto? Yeah, Tom Brady knows. What could go wrong with your wife taking martial arts lessons? It's lots of things to take away from Tom Brady. I appreciate you guys being here. Let's talk about my splash plays. Before I do that, though, one quick last little whoring here. Please subscribe down below. Please hit the like button. Always great to see the live count number going high. If you're new around here, I do these videos Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Same process. I prepare my projections, compare to them to Stokastics, compare to unabated betting markets, run some DFS sims. You're going to get a pretty good read on the slate here. It can always change. It probably will change because it's the NBA, but at 4 o'clock, it's the best I could do for you. And I will give you my best here every day. That's my 2025 promise / just what I do. So please subscribe down below, hit the like button. It goes a long way for me. Just one guy running 2 channels and doing this as best I can for 2 sports. Other quick plugs. Again, we'll get the splash plays, I promise. 15% off Stokastic, promo code SPLASH, link in the description. Sims tool you just saw, the data they have, all of that. If you want to build your own projection set off their minutes, you can do that like I do with Stokastic data. 15% off, link in the description. Unabated, the presenting sponsor here, $30 off with the promo code SPLASH. So check that out. And again, great partner for me. Please go support that if you want to get better at betting. Their data will help you do it. And Underdog, $1,000 in bonus cash as well. Get in there. For some reason, you only follow me for DFS content. Play some best ball, play some tournaments, have some fun. Live a little over there. That's not their catchphrase. It's somebody else's, but still counts. All right. Splash plays of the day. LeBron. Now that I know that Stokastic is saying no LeBron, I say yes LeBron. I think LeBron is good chalk. I think LeBron is like every kind of lineup chalk. I'm a little bit more scared of D'Angelo Russell, but if the Sims are going to push people away, I'll take that shot. D'Angelo Russell has been really impressive overall in court time without other star players out there. Cam Thomas, again, if you get Cam Thomas and D'Angelo Russell not starting, I would be a little bit more reluctant there. So that's my one caveat. But I do think Russell, with the usage he's had, the opportunity, a 30% usage and 50% assist rate in his debut for the Nets, nothing to sneeze at. Same thing for the rates going back to last year without LeBron and AD. I think Russell's a pretty good play. Besides that, it's tough, man, because Trace Jackson Davis projects so well. I think he has to be one. I would say in terms of the best values for me, Trace Jackson Davis, Denny Avdia, not really a value in terms of his price point, but Austin Reeves. I think those 3 guys were also core plays for me today. So it's a lot of a lineup, but those are the guys I'm going to have in more lineups than not for myself today. Follow your heart accordingly. But make sure to gamble responsibly, guys, even though it's always money time here. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play Pod. Back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Back in a half hour on Stokastic for the deeper dive. So come watch that. I'll see you guys hopefully on one of those. And if not, hey, whatever. Good luck. See you soon. And don't call people shitheads on YouTube. They don't deserve it. Hey, bye, guys.